Thank you, Commissioner Norton and Superintendent Garcia and members of the Curriculum Committee. My name is Deborah Quad, and I am the president of the AFY Parents Association. Today, Superintendent Carlos Garcia and Special Assistant to the Superintendent Christina Wong met with School Site Council Chair Lillian Fong, SSC member Dennis Yee, and alumni parent Dr. Dan Kelly. We appreciate the dialogue and welcome the opportunity to participate in a working group made up of representatives from the school and the district to refine the program design to meet the needs of all of our students and stakeholders. We appreciate the district's openness in working with us and are here tonight to share with you the rationale for our proposed program design. Alice Wang U is the nation's first Chinese immersion public school. In 1995, the immersion program at AFY was established, approved and sanctioned by the San Francisco Unified School District and the state of California. Since then, our students have graduated with high levels of proficiency in both English and Chinese, and we have seen our model work for both English learners and native English speakers. The district has proposed to change AFY to a dual immersion model with 2/3 English learners. We understand the need to include English learners. In fact, we have a significant English learner population despite having been a one-way immersion program for more than 15 years. However, the dual immersion model with 2/3 English learners, as designed and defined by the district, will not best serve the needs of the English learners, as there will be limited English instruction time and there will be a smaller proportion of native English speaker students who can model English proficiency. Instead, we propose to you a new program design for AFY, which for the sake of discussion we will call the balanced immersion model, although the name is not critical. We welcome all students to apply, and under this proposed model, the student composition will be 1/3 English learners and 2/3 native English speakers. In addition, we ask the district to assess all applicants for language proficiency so that we can maintain the integrity of the student composition. We ask the board to approve this balanced immersion model for AFY and for the district to implement this model for the current 2012-13 enrollment cycle and onward. Thank you.
My name is Dennis Yee, and I'm a member of the School Site Council at Alice Wang U. First, I want to thank Superintendent Carlos Garcia and Special Assistant Christina Wong for taking the time today to meet with me and other members of the Alice Wang U community. I think we had a very productive meeting, and I look forward to working together with you again to find a solution that's best for all students, including both English learners and native English speakers. The Alice Wang U community actually, we looked over the Supreme Court case Law versus Nichols, and we understand the legal decision from that case that requires the district to give access to English learners. Alice Wang U supports the English learner community, and even as a one-way immersion program, the Alice Wang U community has always welcomed and supported English learners, students and families. And we will continue to welcome English learners under a balanced immersion model, a ratio that gives both English learners and native English speakers the best chance for success. Alice Wang U's English learners have been highly successful due, in a large part, to the fact that we have modified our program to accommodate English learners and provide extensive tutoring programs. And as a result, these English learners have shown very high API scores and a high reclassification rate to English proficient. And I guess I do want to quote some data. The 2011 growth API score for the school as a whole was 955. And there may be this misconception that because we have no English learners, that's why the API score is so high. But if you look at the breakdown of the API score, there actually is a significant number of English learners, like mentioned before. It's about 1/3 in the elementary school levels. And if you just look at the English learner API score, it's 935. And so the English learners do very well at Alice Wang U. We have services for them. And so I guess I just want to dispel any misconception there that we don't have English learners. That's not true. We have English learners. Number two, our API scores are high, not only because the English proficient students are doing well, but the English learners are also doing very well in the program. And so we absolutely support English learners, and we just want to do it at a ratio that is logical, effective, and inclusive for all. And I ask the board to approve our proposed balanced immersion model for Alice Wang U with the student composition that is 1/3 English learners and 2/3 native English speakers. And again, I want to thank Superintendent Garcia and Special Assistant Christina Wong for taking the time to meet today And I'm sure that we'll work out a plan that works best for all students. Thank you.
What was the score again for your the total score?
955 is the 2011 growth rate test score.
Appreciate that.
Hi, good evening. My name is Nancy Lee, and I'm a member of ELAC, and I'm the Secretary of the Parent Association. The AFY community would like to propose a balanced immersion model with a class composition of 1/3 ELs and 2/3 EPs. As you know, with a language immersion program, we don't have very much time to focus on teaching the kids English. As a matter of fact, in our kindergarten class, only one subject, equivalent to only an hour a day, is being focused on English. It works very well for EPs, but does not do service for our EL students. We realize this research have mentioned that for the ELs, they do very well in dual immersion programs, and we totally support the research because we've seen it work at AFY with comprehensive tutoring before, during, and after school. The ELs excel at AFY. And with Dennis's scores, it has supported the research. As a member of ELAC at AFY, ELAC has shared concerns by increasing the student population to 2/3. By increasing the population, it further limits the amount of English exposure for EL students. Our focus for immersion is not just language, it's also culture, it's also network. In order to enable the ELs to model English language from the people who speak English best, native speakers. What we want to do is create the bonding, the friendship that they can take beyond AFY when they go through high school or when they go through the workforce. So we're respectfully requesting that the board support our proposal, which is a balanced immersion model of 1/3 ELs and 2/3 English speakers. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Ryan Johnson. I'm a member of the AFY Parents Association Board. I'm the father of a 4th grade girl and a kindergarten boy, both of whom are flourishing at AFY. Our community has proposed, once again, a balanced immersion model with a student composition of 1/3 English learners and 2/3 native English speakers. Essential to this request is that the district also accurately assess all applicants for language proficiency. Without such testing, we cannot maintain the integrity necessary for immersion instruction. AFY provides an example of what can happen when accurate testing of all applicants doesn't occur. Up until 2010-2011 school year, AFY was a one-way immersion program, as you know. All entering students were supposed to be English proficient. In practice, though, due to the popularity of AFY among the English learner population, there ended up being about 1/3 English learners across grades K through 5 for the 2010-2011 school year. English learners have ended up at AFY even though entering students were supposed to be English proficient through a lack of effective assessment or any assessment at all. Those applicants who, as we've noted in the presentation earlier, indicate English on the home language survey were not tested. Unfortunately, this loophole allowed any applicant to avoid testing simply by indicating English on the home survey. Even for the applicants who were tested in some cases, the results did not accurately reflect the applicant's true language proficiency. I would ask you to approve the balanced immersion model for AFY, and I would also ask you that you require the district to accurately assess all applicants for language proficiency. Thank you very much.
Thank you for hearing me. My name is Joe Dillard, and I'm a member of the AFY PA, and I also lead school tours for the prospective parents at the school. And that has given me a unique perspective of meeting all of the hopeful parents who want to come to our school, those 700 people who apply to our school every year. and I get the privilege of showing off their beautiful kindergarten and the amazing work that the teachers do with their kids. Most of them come out of their maze saying that these children haven't spoken Cantonese before, and I have to explain to them, a lot of them look Chinese, but that does not mean they speak the language. And what SFUSD does to communicate language across to so many kids so quickly is an amazing thing to see, and I would encourage any board member to please come down and I'll show them, because it's a model that should be copied in our school district. And I think the balanced immersion model that we're offering is very similar to what we've already been doing for the last 15, 16 years, and it works. Look at our scores, look at our kids, they go on, they succeed. Thank you.
I have to say that in addition to being a great tour guide, Joe is also an excellent framer. If you have any framing.
Good evening. My name is Michael Mobley. I'm a member of the Black Student Union at AFY. I would like to read to you a letter that Bill Lee wrote regarding the potential impact of the district's changes on ethnic diversity. Bill Lee is a parent at AFY, and unfortunately he is not able to join us today. But he wanted to share his letter with me. My name is Bill Lee. I'm the father of Olivia Lee, a first grader at Alice SFUSD. I'm a 20-year resident of San Francisco and an African American. Like many, I've been concerned about the increasing marginalization of our African American communities in San Francisco and the continuous decline of the black middle class. Now I'm sure you're wondering, what does this have to do with Alice SFUSD admission policy? Is this guy even at the right meeting? Well, when my daughter was applying to kindergarten, like most parents in the city, I visited many schools, focusing mainly on the top performing schools, since my daughter's a pretty smart kid. Now I have been aware that the majority of African American kids in San Francisco attend lower performing schools. But one thing my school tours made clear is that most of the top scoring schools in San Francisco have very few and often no African American students. I saw 0 black kids at Yolola, very few at Clarendon and Rooftop, and when I asked about the lack of black students at Alamo, my tour guide actually laughed at me. Then the one shining exception was Alex SFUSD. At AFY, African Americans are the largest minority. Some of these kids come from middle class families, but many are bused in from Bayview and Hunters Point, making them among the very few students from lower income neighborhoods to receive the very best of what San Francisco Unified School District has to offer. Just like the rest of the students at AFY, African American children benefit tremendously from the discipline and rigor of a highly successful immersion experience. Alice SFUSD has a thriving black student union sponsored by a highly visible African American faculty member, something else that the district has very few of. Jay Taylor is popular among the students, and he has been very effective at motivating African American families and helping ensure the kids genuinely feel they are an integral part of the AFY community. If the Board of Education alters the admission policy of Alice SFUSD to include significant numbers of English learners, not only will this undermine a key part of what makes the core immersion program successful, but it will also result in a significant population shift that will effectively exclude many African American children from being able to take advantage of this top-shelf education opportunity. This, of course, would be yet another blow to the already endangered San Francisco African American community. But many of us live here because San Francisco represents possibility. Where else could a little 6-year-old black girl win second place in the citywide Bridge Cup contest reciting classical poetry in Cantonese? Of course, I'm bragging about my daughter. That comes with the territory. But it was her experience at Alice SFUSD that made this achievement possible. Don't take that away. I urge you to reconsider your plans to change Alice Wong U's admission policy. Thank you.
So where is the time check? That's been 15 minutes. Okay. My apologies, gentlemen. If you want to each take 1 minute to address the board, that would be okay.
Thank you. Good evening, board members, Superintendent Garcia and district staff. My name is Brian Wu, and I am the secretary of Alice Wong Yu's School Site Council. The Alice Wong Yu community has proposed a balanced immersion model with a student composition that is 1/3 English learners and 2/3 native English speakers. A 1/3 English learner composition is inclusive of English learners while giving English learners the best chance, the absolute best chance for success in a Chinese immersion setting, and we all want the best for our kids, of course. With only limited instruction time in English, the English learners will benefit from the peer modeling from the 2/3 native English speakers. And with a 1/3 English learner, 2/3 native English speaker student composition, both groups will have the best chance of developing high levels of proficiency in both English and Chinese, and there is a better chance for a more ethnically diverse student population. In order to maintain the integrity of the classroom composition, we also ask the district to accurately assess all applicants for language proficiency. And we ask the board to approve this balanced immersion model for Alice Wong Yu and for the district to implement this model for the current 2012-13 enrollment cycle and onward. We look forward to continued collaboration with the district and a working group to develop implementation steps toward this new pilot model. Thank you.
Thanks very much for the time. My name is Wade Ranlett. I'm the parent of a 5th grader and a 2nd grader, and hopefully 2 more kids to follow after that. I have the pleasure of being with the vice president today when he was in town, and we were talking about the extraordinarily low standing of elected officials all across America with their constituents. And his punchline on that was when he was elected when he was 29 years old to the Senate, promise made was a promise kept was the thing that he kept talking about in Delaware. And the promise that was made to the parents of Alice Wong Yu needs to be a promise kept. It's a promise about civic admission, a promise about one-way immersion. And we keep talking about English language learners. It's not English language learners. It is about non-target language learners. So whether you speak French, or you speak Spanish, or you speak any other language, it's about learning language that you have no exposure to, which is a wonderful program for us to have. There are places where we have 2 different campuses. It could be that there's a good opportunity for you guys to think about whether or not we should have a track for folks who already speak the target language, and it is dual immersion at a sister campus. There are many different ways for us to get this right, but just dismantling what is working perfectly is clearly not a great idea. So I encourage you just to think creatively. There's no one thing we have to do. We're trying to serve the parents and the teachers who do such a wonderful job are just trying to make a great educational experience, the best, I believe, in San Francisco. If there's a different way to make it work with partnering with another campus, I think the community is all in favor of it. Thanks for your time.